The Buckeyes have made it out west. They're in Los Angeles, as is the 41-year vet Tim May, as is me, Spencer Holbrook. Let's talk
As
about
is me. Okay.
There you go. Let's talk about it, Tim, because the Buckeyes are here in Los Angeles. They just had full team media day. The entire team was available for interviews. We talked to quite a few of them for future stuff with next spring in mind. But we also talked to some guys who were going to play in this game. Ryan Day was available for an hour. Will Howard was available for an hour. A lot to soak in about these Buckeyes. I think the first thing that I recognize, Tim, is it's the college ball playoff quarterfinal. Of course they are, but it's still worth saying this is a really confident bunch heading into this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them cocky by any stretch, but I would call them confident based on the way the game against Tennessee went, the number 3 team in the country. And let's face it, if Jeremiah Smith had gotten that pass in the end zone instead of getting interfered with, the ball popping off and Tennessee getting the interception, it might have been 28-0.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That was about as dominant as you're going to see a team play against light competition on that level with so much at stake. And so, this team finally played the game. Everybody expected them to play against those kind of players. And, of course, they're walking in here feeling like they've already played Oregon once. It was a 32-31 game, not a shellacking by either side. So, of course, they not only believe they belong on the field, they believe they can win on this field. And as Dylan Gabriel pointed out this morning, and the good thing is it's also on grass. He goes, man, because he plays on artificial turf at Oregon, but the setting is going to be unlike most of these guys have ever played in from the standpoint of, a few of them played in the Rose Bowl a few years ago, like Emeka Egbuka. I can name a bunch of guys at Ohio State, but Oregon has played here in the Rose Bowl against UCLA in the regular season. But these are huge stakes, as you well know, and I think both teams seem peaked for it.
Yeah, that's just UCLA's home venue. This is the actual Rose Bowl.
Correct.
So it's a little different.
Don't ever mix them up.
Yeah, a little different. Chip Kelly could tell you that.
Yeah, there won't be any drapes over a bunch of the seats in this one.
Yeah, no kidding. One person I did talk to that I think is worth noting is Josh Fryer. I also talked to Justin Fry.
Yeah, I did too.
About this offensive line and just coming together and kind of shutting some people up after the performance against Tennessee, because so many people thought that Ohio State, which I thought was weird, they thought Ohio State couldn't even block Tennessee, and I knew that they could at least do some things against them.
Yeah.
But the way that they performed was pretty impressive. This offensive line group seems and feels like it's ready, Tim, for this challenge.
Yeah.
Because as good as Tennessee was up front, I think Oregon's going to present even more.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree totally with that. But Jordan Birch, like I was talking with Josh Fryer about. Remember, Josh Fryer gave us that great quote when I asked him about Jordan Birch before the first meeting, defensive end. Massive dude, 6'8", whatever he weighs. Legend has it anywhere from 290 to 390. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But an athlete. But remember, he had that term about he was scary looking. He's scary. And we were laughing about that when I was talking to Josh a little bit today, because he didn't, Jordan Birch didn't play in that game. Yeah. And the bottom line is, the Pierce kid from Tennessee was supposed to be this awesome offense wrecking pass rusher. He might have had a tackle.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I think the point I'm talking about here, Ohio State's got good players too.
Correct.
Yeah. This may be the best roster in the country, even though the offensive line aspect of it has been tested like no other time that I've been covering Ohio State, which is, like you pointed out, 41 seasons. And I was talking with Justin Fry about it too. I mean, I said the low point, and he was saying, well, that's not my low point. You have to rebound. But losing Seth McLaughlin, Remington Award winner, just when you thought you had covered all the bases and stuff, they had to reset and stuff. The Michigan game, everybody wants to forget about, but the Tennessee game, if you don't springboard from that, with the way you performed up front against what a lot of people thought was across the board the best defensive line in the Southeastern Conference, Ohio State's got confidence going into this game.
Yeah, they need to have confidence because they were very close to beating Oregon the first time. And I think that's another message that was in here is like Will Howard said last night when the team arrived, they think that they beat themselves. Will had that third down snap.
They did.
They gave Oregon 2 possessions in the first half with the kickoff thing that, kudos to Oregon for running that. But
kickoff thing, yeah.
Yeah, but also that was, kind of a fluky play that Oregon had set up. And then
they got it from Waterboy, the script of Waterboy.
Yeah, they did. And then, the fumble inside the 20 there, that gave them their first touchdown, Quinshon Judkins. Then the ball going through Will Howard's hand. Like, this team has watched that so many times it knows that it really came down to Ohio State beating itself out there in Eugene. And I think that's what gives this team even more confidence is like when you look back at that, and the way that they're talking now kind of bears that out. Like when you look back at that, it's very easy to see that like Ohio State had, and I think Oregon had some opportunities too that were squandered. First and goal inside the 5-yard line, don't get anything there. Ohio State really squandered some opportunities here, and so the confidence that they have is not just from the way that they played against Tennessee, but the way that they know that they can play if they execute better against this very opponent.
Look in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
Look in the mirror. I mean, that's what few teams have that luxury of being able to look in the mirror and see who their worst enemy was on that particular outing. And like I said, earlier in this thing, it wasn't a shellacking. It was 32-31. Ohio State had the ball and was driving and had a chance to win until just the strangest stuff ever happened in the last 35, 40 seconds of that game. It's still, Emeka Egbuka thought he'd caught a pass that set him up for the game-winning field goal. Now you get 8, 10, 12 more yards. Jaden Fielding ends up being the hero.
Yeah.
Now, of course, people have questions about Jaden Fielding.
Well, I talked to him, Tim. So we'll get to him.
Okay. But my point is, this is another moment for this team to prove itself. And I think they understand these are bonus moments.
Yeah.
And, we can talk about the irony of getting a second chance at a home game, final home game for the seniors, the guys who are outgoing and living up to their expectations, and getting a second chance at Oregon, a team that beat them by 1 point earlier in the year and now is considered the best team in college football for this particular season. Like I keep pointing out, I believe the two best teams left in this tournament are playing on Wednesday afternoon in the Rose Bowl.
I think so too. The last thing that I wanted to get to, Tim, because we won't be too long here. We got a lot to get to over at lettermenrow.com. It's like I talked to Jaden Fielding about the last few weeks. And I said, Jaden, I just flat out asked him. I said, Jaden, how have the last few weeks been for you? He took a big sigh and then he said, challenging. He's heard a lot of the criticism, but he also is a confident guy. He's an ultra confident guy. I think one of the most underrated things about Jaden is he's probably one of the 10 most confident people on this roster, despite being the kicker.
He's a kicker,
And, he said, watch the NFL all the time. Guys make a clutch kick one week, and then they're the zero the next week because they hit the upright and they lose the game for the team.
Yeah.
He knows that he was bad against Michigan. He just admitted it. He knows that the Tennessee kick was from 56 yards in really cold weather. I didn't think Ohio State should have kicked it.
I didn't think that was a big deal, but go ahead.
No, I didn't either, but it's still another feather in the cap of the Jaden Fielding naysayers, which is fine. But also, I also asked him, like, hey, you know that you can do this because you hit a fourth quarter field goal to take the lead against Oregon. You hit a fourth quarter field goal to extend the lead against Penn State. Like, where does your confidence come from right now, knowing that everybody's doubting you? And he said, like, you're a kicker. You have to have confidence.
Yeah.
And I think it's fascinating to me because this game is going to have field goals in it. He has to be good. I also brought up that Noah Ruggles hit the game winner against Utah in the Rose Bowl the last time we were here.
Right.
And then the next year was the absolute zero again in the
although he did hit a 48-yarder before he missed a 50-yarder.
So it's just an interesting thing. I'm going to write a story about it for lettermenrow.com about Jaden's mindset heading into this because as much as Ohio State fans don't like him right now, you need him. You really do. The
Michigan game, it came down to that. The Oregon game, it was going to come down to that. The Georgia game, it came down to that.
Yeah.
They didn't need him against Tennessee, as it turns out. You understand what I'm saying? See, I liken a field goal kicker to a guy playing in a golf scramble, but he only gets to hit the ball once every 15, 30, 50 shots.
Yeah.
And then he's got to be on, and then when he misses it, oh man, it cost us. But really, the other guys in the scramble also cost you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I've never questioned the guy's confidence is going to be okay. I mean, like I said, I've been studying kickers and quarterbacks forever. Everybody goes through. You can't call them streaks because every kick is a microcosm unto itself.
It's also a
it's a
referendum.
And it's all exactly, but it's also that's what everybody else puts on it is a referendum. But it is never the same circumstance. It is never the same setting. That's the point that a kicker has to deal with and then live with it, live or die with it. So I never have questioned. We've had conversations in the press box during games. I go, we've seen this guy kick big time. We know he can kick big time. Just got to, when the moment's right, the snap's got to be good, the hole's got to be good, and then he's got to be good.
Last but not least, a lot of attention today on Denzel Burke.
Field goal. That's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, there you go. It says Denzel Burke's turn to talk today. as was everybody's, but
Yeah.
obviously a lot of people talking to
Yeah.
Denzel Burke.
I did.
Um,
Writing about him for Lettermen Row.
not another guy who is not really worried about what happened in the last game against Oregon. He's ready.
Here's the thing. He knows everybody remembers, and he remembers what happened. And he had the second quarter from hell,
Yep.
basically for a corner. And he knows it, and everybody knows it. And I was talking to Tim Walton about it, too. I mean, that old adage, and it's true, man, just like kickers, you can't dwell on that last kick or you're doomed.
Yeah.
For Denzel, like I said, I'm writing about him just as soon as we're done here. You move on. We know the quality corner he is. I talked to Davis Nigbenosin about it, too. David Nigbenosin has had his challenges this year from the mittens standpoint and the holding standpoint. They know what they did right and wrong, what they do right and wrong, but in the heat of the moment, you never know what's coming. I mean, Oregon hadn't thrown the ball deep all year until all of a sudden they did it in that second quarter against Denzel Burke. So you understand what I'm saying? So you live and learn.
It's going to be fascinating, Tim. We're going to watch the Buckeyes practice later on Monday afternoon. For now, we're just going to go to lettermenrow.com, get to work on all of that writing. Come to lettermenrow.com right now. Come hang out with us. Come get ready for the Rose Bowl. Tim May, the 41-year vet, he's out here. I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like the video below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll see you guys over at lettermenrow.com, and then we'll see you back here at some point before the Rose Bowl, and we'll talk about the Buckeyes a little bit more. What do you say, Tim?
That sounds really good to me. I like to talk. I don't know if people have noticed that or not.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's all right. Go to lettermenrow.com. Rose Bowl in a couple days. We'll be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you guys there.